a disabled 10-year-old immigrant, Rosa Maria Hernandez, caught media attention as ICE chased down her ambulance. Her family was trying to get her emergency surgery to remove her gallbladder.
Armed agents waited outside the girl's operating room. The next morning, they arrested her from her hospital bed and took Rosa Maria to a government detention center for children.
On one hand, the law opens up opportunities, it guarantees rights. On the other hand, it can act as a barrier. And in this case, for many decades, it did.
32 years ago, the Americans with Disabilities Act was signed into law, protecting disabled people from discrimination. The ADA built on Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act, which codified non-discrimination for all entities receiving federal funding. However, its inclusive protections have failed to translate to asylum law.
The Americans with Disabilities Act is fabulous. It recognizes the rights of people with disabilities and how we should fight ableism in all aspects of our society. But the immigration laws, historically, were designed to keep people out, not to help people enter.
People with disabilities were never considered a certain group entitled to protections in asylum law until very recently.
People with disabilities had been persecuted and still are in institutions in many countries of the world.
In many of these countries, they're not going to receive the health care that they need. They're sending them back to die. They are put in solitary confinement just off the back. And they're told that it's for their own protection just because of their disabilities, right? We've had folks who have told us, if you are a person who uses medical equipment, like a wheelchair, for example, that wheelchair is taken away.
Solitary confinement of people with disabilities for the safety of the individual have been found to violate the Eighth Amendment as well as Section 504 and the ADA.
The system is that it is not designed with a disability lens whatsoever. It's compliance focused. But the kids who don't have a viable sponsor or family member in the community who have disabilities, these children will spend months and years in custody.
The Olmstead decision is a monumental U.S. Supreme Court decision that uses the ADA's integration mandate. It holds that disabled people have a right to live in their communities.
Olmstead said that the ADA includes in its regulations an integration mandate, which means that a state cannot keep confined any individual with disability in an institution.
The system as it stands is kind of the anti-Olmstead. The solutions are a system that prioritizes getting kids to families quickly, not separating kids from trusted family members, that is trauma-informed, that funds home and community-based placements, is a system that works for children with disabilities, but it works for all kids.
It's very important that disability rights groups and immigration rights groups come together and speak to each other, because we need to make sure that immigration laws that are being passed include individuals with disabilities, and we need to ensure that disability laws that are being passed include immigrants with disabilities.
It confirms what we say is our commitment against ableism and for integration and inclusion of people with disabilities through the ADA, recognizing that people with disabilities are human beings with rights like everyone else. It's about time, don't you think?